The sky was dark red, and the sun rose like a burning wound across the horizon. Cold wind moved over flat stone ground, carrying dust that cut like tiny knives. This place was known across the galaxy as the trial grounds. No city stood here. No shelter existed. Only stone, wind, and silence. This was where the galaxy's toughest endurance trial began. Hundreds of species had arrived during the night. They stood in wide lines, separated by glowing energy markers. Some were tall and heavy, with thick armor-like skin. Some had 4 legs, 6 eyes, or bodies made for extreme heat or deep space. Many of them came from worlds far harsher than Earth. They were champions, survivors, legends of their own species. Above them, floating platforms held the judges, ancient beings who had watched civilizations rise and fall. To them, this trial was not about strength or speed. It was about endurance. The rules were simple. Stand in your position. Do not move forward. Do not step back. Do not lie down. No weapons. No tools. No help. Food and water were not allowed. Protection was forbidden. The trial would continue until every participant quit, collapsed, or died, until only one remained. That one would be declared worthy. As the sun climbed higher, the wind became colder instead of warmer. Many aliens adjusted their stance or activated natural defenses. Some laughed, some roared, some looked calm. Then they noticed a human. He stood in the last line. He was smaller than most. No armor, no claws, no thick skin, no glowing organs, just fabric clothing and exposed skin. Whispers spread quickly. A human? From Earth? This must be a mistake. They are weak. They are soft. They won't last an hour. The human did not respond. His name was Elias Ward. He stood straight, hands relaxed at his sides, eyes forward. His face showed no fear, no pride, no anger. He was not trying to look brave. He was simply waiting. The first test began without warning. The temperature dropped suddenly, from tolerable to deadly cold in seconds. Several species cried out as ice formed on their skin. Breath turned into sharp clouds. Some fell to their knees immediately, their bodies not built for sudden cold. Elias felt it too. The cold bit into his skin. His fingers stiffened. His teeth pressed together. His body shook, but he did not move. He breathed slowly. Minutes passed, then hours. The sun climbed higher, but the cold stayed. Wind increased. The ground vibrated with deep pressure waves. Gravity pulled harder, forcing bodies downward. A massive creature of stone collapsed with a loud crack. A fire breather screamed as its internal heat failed. A scaled warrior dropped to one knee, then to the ground. Judges watched silently. Data streamed across their screens. Heart rates, stress levels, muscle failure. The human's data surprised them. He was struggling, very clearly struggling. But he did not quit. As the first light cycle ended, more than half the participants were gone. Some had collapsed. Some had been removed by drones. Some had begged to stop. Elias remained. Sweat froze on his skin. His lips were dry. His legs burned from standing so long under heavy gravity. Every part of his body asked him to move. He did not. The second test began. Radiation storms. The air shimmered. Energy waves cut through flesh and bone. Species built for space screamed as their shields failed. Others tried to curl into defensive shapes, but movement was forbidden. Elias felt heat under his skin like a deep burn. Pain spread slowly, quietly. He focused on breathing. In, out, in, out. He thought of nothing heroic. No speeches, no glory, just the next breath. By the next dawn, only a few participants remained. One by one, they fell. A towering predator with metal bones collapsed forward. A creature born in a black hole environment finally screamed and quit. A proud champion dropped unconscious, its body unable to continue. Silence returned. Judges checked their screens again. One life sign remained active. They looked down. Elias Ward was still standing. He swayed slightly. His face was pale. His eyes were tired. His body was damaged. But he was upright, alive, Waiting. A judge finally spoke, voice echoing across the grounds. The first phase is complete. There was a pause. Then the judge added words that sent shock through every observer across the galaxy. All other participants have failed. The cameras zoomed in on the human. Dust clung to his clothes. Frost marked his skin. His breathing was slow but steady. He did not raise his arms. He did not celebrate. He only looked at the rising sun, because the human understood something the galaxy did not. This trial was not about strength. It was about how long someone could endure pain and keep waiting. And for humans, waiting had never been a problem. The trial had begun. The trial grounds did not celebrate. There was no sound of victory, no announcement of honor, only silence. Elias Ward still stood where he had been placed. The red sun climbed higher, but its light gave no warmth. The ground beneath his boots trembled softly, like a living thing breathing under stone. High above, the judges spoke among themselves. This was not expected, one said. The trial is not complete, another replied. The human remains, a third added. They agreed on one thing. The trial would continue. Without warning, the environment changed again. The cold vanished. Heat slammed down instead. The temperature rose fast, too fast. The air turned heavy, thick, hard to breathe. Stone beneath Elias' feet grew hot, then burning. The sky darkened as clouds of glowing dust filled the air. This was not natural weather. This was design. Elias felt sweat pour down his face. His clothes stuck to his skin. His lungs worked harder with every breath. The pain was different now, sharp, loud, demanding attention. His knees shook. Still, he did not move. The judges watched closely. Most species broke during sudden changes. Their bodies were strong, but specialized. They were built for one kind of suffering, not many. Humans were different. Elias remembered long summer days on Earth. Heat that pressed down until thinking felt slow. He remembered working through it, waiting through it. Endure now, rest later. Hours passed. Then the gravity shifted again. It did not increase. It changed direction. Sideways pressure slammed into Elias' body, pulling him left. His muscles screamed as he fought to stay upright. One step, just one, would end the pain. But stepping was quitting. His foot lifted slightly, then stopped. Slowly, carefully, Elias set it back down. His jaw tightened. His breathing turned rough. His vision blurred for a moment, but he stayed. Sensors went wild. Muscle damage rising. A judge said, "Pain levels critical." Another noted, "Why does he not collapse?" A third asked. The answer did not appear on their screens. Because humans had learned something early in their history. Pain did not always mean danger. Sometimes pain was just noise. The next test came quietly. No heat, no cold, no gravity shift. Just sound. A low hum filled the air. It vibrated through bone and brain. The frequency was chosen to cause panic, confusion, and fear. Many species lost their minds within minutes when exposed to it. Elias felt it crawl into his head. Memories surfaced, unwanted ones. Loss, failure, loneliness. The hum grew louder. His heart raced. His hands trembled. His mind begged him to escape. He closed his eyes, not to run, but to focus. He counted his breaths again. In, out. He thought of waiting rooms, long nights, quiet mornings, times when nothing happened. But he stayed anyway. The hum did not break him. It only slowed him. Time passed strangely after that. The sun moved across the sky, then dipped low again. Shadows stretched across the empty trial ground where hundreds had once stood. Now there was only one figure. Small, human, still waiting. Observers across the galaxy leaned closer to their screens. Entire worlds had tuned in. Some watched in fear, others in disbelief. How is he still alive? Why does he not scream? Why does he not beg? Elias did none of those things. He swayed once, almost falling. A drone moved closer, ready to extract him. Elias straightened. The drone pulled back. Another judge spoke, voice cold. Begins psychological pressure phase. The sky changed. Images formed in the air, holograms pulled from Elias' own mind. Faces he knew, places from Earth, people calling his name. You can stop, the images said. No one will blame you. You have proven enough. His chest tightened. This was harder than heat, harder than pain. This attacked hope. Elias opened his eyes and stared straight ahead. The images faded slowly, because hope was not something humans depended on. They survived without it. Minutes later, alarms rang across the judge platforms. Neural stability holding. Psychological break not occurring. This should not be possible. The judges were silent. Elias' body was failing. That was clear. Muscles torn. Skin damaged. Energy almost gone. But his will was still waiting. Finally, a judge spoke words never spoken before in this trial. Pause the test. The environment stabilized. Heat faded. Sound stopped. Gravity normalized. Elias remained standing, breathing hard, eyes half closed. A voice echoed across the trial grounds. Human participant, do you wish to withdraw? Elias opened his eyes fully. He did not look angry. He did not look proud. He looked tired. No, he said quietly. Just one word. Across the galaxy, silence spread. Because everyone understood something now. This was no longer a trial. This was a warning. And the human was not even finished waiting. Elias Ward still stood on the trial grounds, his body shaking slightly, his breath slow and controlled. The systems around him had stabilized, but the damage inside him remained. Muscles burned. Skin felt raw. Every joint ached. High above, the judges argued. This has gone too far, one said. He should be unconscious, another replied. He refuses to withdraw. A third added. They searched the records. No species had ever reached this phase alone. The trial was designed to break groups, not individuals. It relied on comparison, on watching others fail. But there was no one left for Elias to compare himself to. Only silence. The judges made a mistake then. They decided to observe, not attack. They opened deep scans into the human mind. What they saw confused them. There was no rage, no hunger for victory, no dream of glory. Instead, there were memories. A small room, a dim light, a long night. Elias as a child, sitting in a hospital chair, waiting while machines beeped softly, waiting without knowing how long it would take, waiting without being told the end would be good or bad. Another memory surfaced. A battlefield on Earth. Elias standing watch while others slept. Cold rain falling. Hours passing with nothing happening. Waiting again. The judges felt discomfort. This species spends much of its life waiting, one said slowly. Yes, another replied. And they do not call it suffering. They looked deeper. They saw humans waiting for food during hard times, waiting for peace during wars, waiting for answers that never came, and still living. The trial resumed, not with force, but with time. The sun set, then rose again. No change in temperature, no storms, no pain spikes. Just standing, just waiting. This phase had ended countless trials before. Species were not built for stillness. Their minds demanded action, purpose, and Elias' legs trembled harder now. His vision blurred often. He blinked slowly to stay focused. His body wanted rest. His mind wanted release. But humans had learned something important long ago. You do not need strength every moment. You only need it right now. Across the galaxy, viewers noticed something strange. Elias was no longer fighting the trial. He had accepted it. He shifted his weight slightly, not enough to break rules, just enough to survive. He relaxed muscles when possible. He conserved energy. He was not challenging the test. He was adapting to it. Is this intelligence? One observer asked. No, an elder replied. This is experience. Hours turned into another day. Then another. Medical alarms sounded constantly, but never reached critical failure. The judges grew uneasy. The trial was supposed to end. They decided on one final measure. Truth exposure. The sky darkened. A voice filled the air, not loud, not cruel. Calm. Human Elias Ward, it said. This trial has no final reward. Elias' eyes lifted slightly. There is no honor, the voice continued. No title. No power. No history will remember your name. The voice paused. You are enduring for nothing. Many species would have broken right there. Meaninglessness was the sharpest blade. Elias closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them. I know, he said. The judges froze. You know? The voice asked. Yes, Elias replied quietly. Most waiting is for nothing. Across the galaxy, systems spiked with confusion. What does he mean? Why continue? Why suffer? The truth was simple. Humans did not endure because it mattered. They endured because they could. The judges tried again. You may stop. No one will think less of you. Elias took a slow breath. People stop me all the time, he said. I don't stop. That was when something changed. Not in Elias, but in the judges. They realized the trial was flawed. It assumed that pain would end choice. Humans had learned to live with pain and choose anyway. The eldest judge spoke at last. This species should not be tested this way. Another replied, Then how do we test them? The answer came quietly. You don't. The trial continued one more night, not because the judges demanded it, but because Elias remained standing. When dawn came again, the light touched an empty field. Empty except for one human. His clothes were torn, his skin marked by burns and frost scars. His body leaned slightly, held upright by will alone. But he was still there, waiting. Observers across thousands of worlds fell silent, because they understood now. If humans ever chose to wait through war, through loss, through extinction-level pain, then no enemy could outlast them. And Elias Ward, standing alone at dawn, was proof. The trial had stopped being a test. It had become a message. Never challenge humans by endurance, because they would still be there when everyone else was gone. The dawn light spread across the trial grounds, slow and quiet. Elias Ward still stood, not straight anymore, not strong, but standing. High above, the judges did not speak at first. Their platforms floated in silence, screens filled with red warnings and unstable readings. No trial in recorded history had reached this point. One judge finally broke the silence. This is no longer endurance, it said. This is defiance. Another replied, No, this is persistence. They looked down at the human again. Elias' eyes were open but unfocused. His body swayed slightly with every breath. Muscles had gone past pain into numbness. His heart beat slow, careful, controlled. He was not surviving by strength anymore. He was surviving by refusal. The judges had one option left, truth without illusion. The sky above Elias shifted again, turning clear and dark. Stars appeared, thousands of them, real ones, not projections. A voice spoke, calm and final. Human Elias Ward. It said, This trial has no ending. Elias blinked. There is no victory condition, the voice continued. No moment where you're declared winner. A pause. You can stand here until your body fails completely. The words were meant to end him. Elias lowered his head, slightly. For a moment, the judges thought they had succeeded. Then Elias spoke. That's fine. 2 simple words. Across the galaxy, millions leaned forward. The voice asked, Why? Elias lifted his eyes to the stars. Because this isn't the longest I've waited, he said. The judges searched his records again. They found years. Years of waiting for answers that never came. Years of effort without reward. Years of standing through things that did not end. One judge whispered, He has trained for this his entire life. The trial systems began to fail. They were not designed for endless duration. Power levels fluctuated. Control fields weakened. One judge said, End the trial. Another answered, If we end it now, what do we admit? Silence followed. They understood the danger. If the galaxy admitted that a human had broken the greatest endurance test ever made, then every future conflict would change. Enemies would not ask, "Can we defeat them?" They would ask, "Can we outlast them?" And the answer would terrify them. The judges made a desperate choice. They activated phase null. The ground vanished. Elias felt sudden emptiness under his feet. He did not fall, because gravity turned off. He floated. No up, no down, no pressure. This phase removed physical pain, but attacked the mind. No sense of time, no sense of space, no reference point. Many species lost sanity within minutes in phase null. Elias floated in silence. His arms drifted slightly. His legs relaxed. There was nothing to fight, nothing to endure, only existence. Minutes passed, then hours, or maybe days. No one could tell. The judges watched closely. Brain activity slowed, but did not break. Elias was not panicking. He was not reaching for meaning. He was resting. One judge said softly, "He is conserving himself." Another replied, "Even now?" "Yes," came the answer. "Especially now." Elias' thoughts drifted. He remembered sitting on a bus during a long trip, waiting to arrive. No control, no rush. He remembered standing in lines, sitting in silence, doing nothing on purpose. Humans called it patience. Phase null began to destabilize, not because Elias broke, but because he did not. The system required mental reaction. Without it, feedback loops collapsed. Alarms rang across the platforms. Phase null failure. Neural subject remained stable. This is impossible. Gravity slowly returned. The ground formed again beneath Elias' boots. He landed badly, knees bending, almost falling. Almost, but he stayed upright. That moment changed everything. The judges no longer looked calm. They looked afraid. One spoke, voice low, "If the species can endure nothingness." Another finished the thought. "Then what happens when they choose to endure war?" The eldest judge stood. "End the trial." It commanded. All systems shut down. The wind stopped. The sky cleared. The ground stabilized. Elias stood in normal light again, breathing hard. A platform lowered until the judges faced him directly. Human Elias Ward. The eldest judge said, "You have surpassed this trial." Elias did not respond. "We declare you untestable." That word echoed louder than any victory title. Across the galaxy, reactions exploded. Fear, respect, silence. The judge continued, "This trial will be erased." Elias finally spoke. "Why?" he asked. The judge answered honestly, "Because it failed to break you." Elias nodded slowly. "That happens sometimes," he said. The judge asked one final question. "What would it take for a human to stop waiting?" Elias thought for a long moment. Then he answered, "When there's someone else who shouldn't have to." The judges had no reply. As Elias was escorted away, the trial ground stood empty for the first time in their history. But the message sent across the stars was clear. If humans ever stood still again, if they ever chose to wait, then the galaxy itself would be the one tested. And it might not endure. The trial ground was silent after Elias Ward left. For the first time in thousands of cycles, no new challengers arrived. The stone field that once held legends now stood empty, marked only by scorched ground and faded energy lines. High above, the judges remained. They did not celebrate. They did not speak of honor. They reviewed records instead. Every moment of the trial replayed on their screens. Every data spike. Every near failure. Every moment when a human should have fallen. But did not. One judge finally said the words none of them wanted to admit. The trial failed. Another corrected him. No, the trial revealed something we were not prepared to see. Across the galaxy, the broadcast spread. Worlds stopped their daily routines. Ships slowed in deep space. Military councils paused mid-argument. They all watched the same image. A human, alone, standing at dawn. Species that had once mocked humans now watched in silence. They did not overpower the trial. They did not outsmart it. They simply outlasted it. That terrified them, because endurance could not be bombed. It could not be negotiated with. It could not be frightened. On the capital world of the Virex Dominion, generals gathered in an emergency council. If humans choose to wait us out, one general said, we lose. Another replied, they already have. Trade guilds reacted next. Contracts were rewritten. Clauses added. Never engage humans in delay tactics. Never assume time weakens them. Diplomats sent quiet messages to Earth, not demands. Questions. What do humans want? What do they value? What makes them stop? On Earth, the response was slow, because humans did not rush answers. Elias Ward was placed in a medical facility after the trial. Doctors worked carefully, quietly. His body had suffered deep damage, but it was healing. He woke to white light and soft sound. A woman sat nearby, an Earth envoy. You scared them, she said gently. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. That wasn't the plan, he replied. Then what was, she asked. Elias thought. I just didn't want to quit, he said. Across the stars, the judges released an official declaration. It was short, direct. The galactic endurance trial is suspended indefinitely. The reaction was immediate. Outrage from proud species, relief from others, fear from many. A historian spoke during a public broadcast. This trial shaped our idea of strength, the historian said. And now that idea is broken. The judges met one final time. The humans must be classified, one said. Another asked, as what? Weapons? Survivors? Anomalies? The eldest judge answered, as constants. That word spread fast. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most advanced, but they remained. Wars changed after that. Enemies no longer planned short conflicts against human forces. They feared long ones. Sieges failed. Blockades collapsed. Waiting games ended early because when humans were involved, time stopped being an advantage. Elias was invited to address the council. He did not want to go, but he did. He stood before beings older than his species. Smaller, weaker, still human. You proved endurance beyond logic. A judge said, why? Elias answered honestly. Because I didn't think about winning, he said. I just thought about staying. A judge asked, is this true of all humans? Elias paused. No, he said, but enough of us. That was worse. The council requested one final clarification. If humans are pushed far enough, the eldest judge asked, if the galaxy tries to wait you out, what happens? Elias looked around the chamber. At some point, he said, we stop waiting. The room went still. And then the judge asked. Elias answered quietly. Then we act. The council ended the session immediately. New laws were written within days. No trials based on endurance against humans. No prolonged conflicts without resolution. No systems designed to exhaust time when humans are present. Because the galaxy understood something at last. Humans did not fear endless struggle. They feared only one thing. That someone weaker would have to endure it alone. Elias returned to Earth months later. He was not famous. He did not want to be, but stories spread anyway. Children learn a new lesson in schools across the stars. Strength fades. Speed fails. But patience remains. And somewhere beyond Earth, in empty space, the trial grounds were dismantled piece by piece. Not because they were useless, but because they had served their final purpose. They had shown the galaxy the truth, that when dawn comes, when the test begins, when everyone else breaks, the human might still be waiting.